Hey friends, welcome back. I am really excited that you're here because I am starting a new series on pantsing novels and looking at the whole process from writing to finishing, editing, all of that stuff from the lens of pantsing. I like to pants because I think it's a really fun way to write. I love discovering the story as it goes. I love getting stuck and having to figure out where to go. I like not having a guide. I love the whole process of pantsing. So how do we do that? Let's look a little bit at getting started and finding sources of inspiration. Getting started with pantsing is super simple. You find where you want to write, whether it's on your laptop or on a piece of paper, dictating it on your phone, whatever, and you just start writing. It's as easy as that. You don't need to come up with an outline. You don't really even have to have a fully developed idea or fully developed characters. You can have half of an idea and still start writing. How fun is that? There are so many places to find inspiration for writing that it's almost stupid. As long as you are alive, a living person, I think that you can find inspiration for stories anywhere. Something that I enjoy doing that I don't do very often because I live out in the boonies and I don't get to town very much is I like to people watch a little bit. I like to see what they're doing, how their bodies move, what conversations are they having, how are they interacting with the people around them or not interacting with the people around them. And I think it's really fun to make up stories about those people. It's in my head and just like a little tiny short story about what they're doing, how they got there, and what they're going to go back home to or something like that. It sounds dumb now that I say it out loud, but it's one of those things that really helps build my creativity. And sometimes I come back to those, while I don't necessarily remember the specific story, there are those elements that I can draw from as I go forward in my actual writing. Other places that you can get inspiration are from being outside. I am writing a fantasy story that involves woods, and in my backyard, if you've been around this YouTube channel for a while, you've seen me recording out in my backyard with my chickens. And they have that little wooded area back there. And sometimes I have to walk through there, if I see things that shouldn't be in there, like glass or whatever that they've unearthed, I have to go in there and get them. And it's a good reminder for me to understand what it's like walking through the woods. I live in North Dakota. Not a whole lot of woodlands around here. So it's easy for me to forget how cramped woods are and how tightly spaced the trees can be. It's not always like what you see in movies where people are running through the woods as fast as they can and the trees are perfectly spaced apart and they don't run into anything and they don't trip on stuff. I mean, that's a beautifully manicured forest that people are running through. So it's good for me to be reminded of those things. And I think of like bugs. Sometimes I forget that they would be in a world. And so those little things that they add magic to your story because it's a tiny little detail that may not seem significant, but it brings your world to life. So it's inspiration everywhere. I like to watch my kids, I watch my dogs, I think about interactions with my husband, with my family. All of these different things provide inspiration for stories and for directions to go in stories, for building relationships between my characters, all of these things. So maybe I'm way too far for you. Maybe you just like the idea of writing a story, but you don't know exactly where to begin. My suggestion to you is to first create a character. A lot of my stories begin with a person, specifically with their name. I think of a name for a character, and out of that, their story grows. So come up with a character, think about what your character wants, what is their biggest desire, what do they want to achieve by the end of your story, and then run with it and see where it goes. I could talk forever about all of this stuff, for all of my subsequent novel videos. I could talk for a really long time. I'm going to try to keep them short, sweet, to the point, give you a couple pointers, and I'll expand as usual more on my blog. You can find that at carriejelic.com. I'll be talking more about getting started, how to get those first words on the page, some of those things. So I hope you'll check that out tomorrow. I post videos on Tuesdays, blogs on Wednesdays. I have book reviews on Mondays now. So if you're looking for a new book to read, you can always check out my book review section. And I have a fun little surprise coming up in a couple weeks that you should definitely stay tuned for. And I hope that you'll find it to be as much of a treat as I will find it to be. I'm also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at Carrie Jelic Author or some variant of that. I'd love to have more conversation about this. How do you get started? What's your biggest hurdle to getting those first words on your page? I'd love to have a conversation, so you can leave me a comment below, or you can find me around social media. We can talk more. I'd love to see you at my blog tomorrow and see what you think about that. It's been great talking to you, and I'm really excited for next week too. So I'll see you in a week. Talk to you later.